And hello, everyone, and we are live. Hopefully, you can hear us all out there in the wonderful land of Twitch. Uh-oh, I can hear myself on somebody's headset. I think it's on you, Akyla. Uh, but uh, sorry about that, everyone. But hey, hello, and welcome to Rook and Rasp IGDN Diversity Scholarship Marathon. This weekend, Rook and Rasp is hosting a marathon in support of the IGDN's Diversity Scholarship Fund. 3 days and 35 volunteers answered the all call to aid. Now, who exactly is the IGDN? The Indie Game Developer Network is an organization that brings together and supports indie game developers. You'll see them at conventions like Gen Con, Origins, Gamehole Con now, and more, bringing fresh new indie games. This year, over 400 games competed in their Indie Groundbreaker Awards, celebrating diversity, innovation, and originality in the field of game design. Now, one of its greatest causes, in my opinion, is the Diversity Scholarship Fund, whose recipients receive financial help to attend the game industry convention Metatopia and provide them with a mentor in the industry to help guide them. So today, we all have a chance to help with this initiative and have some fun. You'll notice for this stream, it is to my left that there is a marquee. On this marquee, what will come up ever so often is going to be a GoFundMe address where you will go to redeem points. So there it is on the screen now. Go and spend money there. And you'll see a menu of things that you can purchase for the game. Anything from simple $5 purchases up to $25 affects different parts of the game. And then we have two large purchases, which are our special reward. For $50, the GMs have come up with something pretty cool that they'll throw in there at us. And I am tossing this one out for $100 donation. I call it your own personal GM. And that is that for $100, I will GM a session for you and six of your friends online, any game that you want. Now, obviously, I do want them to fall within our Rook and Rasp guidelines so that I am not going to be running Fatal. I'm sorry. But if you would like to hop in and do that $100 donation some point in 2024, I will come and run whatever game you want. But it's not supposed to be about me. This is supposed to be about the IGDN and this opportunity. And at this point, I'm going to be handing the show over to Sharene. So, Sharene, show is yours.
Hello. Thank you. And I have worked through the IGDN. Nerdburger Games has been affiliated with them for a very long time. And I've been to Gen Con a couple of times, and I got to sit in the booth and meet all the cool people. And it's great. It's a really great organization. They do good things. And we are going to be running a Nerdburg Games game today. It's one that I helped develop uh, and do some writing for. Up to this point, I had only written for games. Someone said, "Okay, write, this sort of thing for me," and I would do that. But they sort of handed me this game concept, and we're like, and you kind of sort of make this make sense. So I tried my best. It was my first time doing that, and I had a lot of fun making, especially the NPCs in this. So the best thing about this game is making the characters. It's called Staged Heroism, as you can see. It is heavily influenced by the Venture Brothers, if you're familiar with that show. The show is very much like a sort of serious take on a lot of the very weird and wacky cartoons, the Hanna-Barbera sort of cartoons of the 60s, where they would do a lot of, in a lot of those cartoons, they would do a lot of just absolutely wild magic and science and stuff like that with absolutely no thought as to what was real or possible or how it would affect the outside world around them. And so the Venture Brothers is very much sort of taking like, well, okay, but what about the other people who have to live in this world who aren't the super scientists? Like, and in this game, I like the concept of sort of the place being oversaturated. Now everybody's a superhero. Everybody's got powers or access to a weapon, you know, some kind of usage. Like, uh, you could go find someone who breathes fire at your local pizzeria, and that's how, you know, that's how they make pizzas. And so when you are a superhero, how do you stand out? How do you make yourself be interesting or notable or whatever in this weird and wacky world? Um, and another thing that was well thought out in that, and we had to think about in the book, which is what we're going to be playing today, is what happens when superheroes retire. There comes a time where, by choice or because of your physicality, you can no longer continue doing the thing you were doing prior to that. So then what do you do? And so there is the Cosmic Retirees Incorporated organization, which exists to ensure that everyone in their retirement, has access to healthcare and a place to live and the basic needs. And so that is where our group is beginning. They have lived long and storied lives. They have all sorts of experience. Um, they have lots of stories to tell, and they've all decided for whatever personal reasons that it's time to retire, and they've come to the home, and there are a lot of benefits to this home. Oh, just remembered, I was going to go over the rules, basic rules with everyone before I got into the story part. So, sorry about breaking into that, but I'm going to do that. So, it is largely a role-playing game. The rules are sort of loose guidelines. There's not a lot of extremely strict rules about things. And it's done very cinematically, so we do scenes. We're going to set a scene, we're going to act out the scene, and then when we have to move to a new place or we have to move to a new subject, that will be the end of the scene. The only reason that's important is because some powers can only be used once per scene. So just something quick to keep in mind, but generally it's pretty obvious when those sorts of things are happening. So you also, because it is a game largely about failure and maybe not being the best of the superheroes, you have what is called a failure bank. So if you attempt something and you get a total failure, I'm not sure if you can hear my cat in the background. He, he's actually fine. It's just my partner's just come home and he absolutely loves my partner and he freaks out and he's just like, pick me up, love me. It's super cute. Anyway, so every time you attempt something and you get a total failure, you can add a roll to your failure. Now you can decide if you want to use it immediately, or you can save it for later. You can decide I'm okay with failing at this point, and I'm going to keep my dice and use it later. So what we do is, and when we roll dice, we're going to roll 2d10. So if you use one failure point, you can reroll one of the dice. 2 failure points, you can reroll 2 dice. Pretty simple. You have powers and you have qualities. Your powers are, you're sort of more specific. Maybe you can do dice out of your whatever. And your qualities are things about your life or your circumstance that give you bonuses or whatever. And everyone's made their characters with all those choices already. And there's a little bit of rules in terms of combat. It's fairly simple, but there are just some default actions that everybody can do. You can throw something, You could let them, give them hell. You can, you know, there's you can hide. Sort of a few standard moves that you can do in combat, but your powers or your qualities give you additional special moves that you can do in combat. So we will get into some combat later, and we'll figure that out. And yeah, the rest of it is really just being a weirdo about it. There are in this world, there are um, superheroes, supervillains. Your options for class choices: superhero, supervillain, henchman, or hench. Sorry, or super spy. And so you get different bonuses and whatnot for that. So you are all um, in your lovely uh, cosmic retirees home. The home in question is quite modern. Um, it's lovely. There's lots of light. It's on a large piece of ground. There's a big garden in the front, and it's got got a round central area with four uh, residential wards coming off of it. And the central area is your communal rooms, so where the activity rooms and the having meals and all that sort of thing all happens in the central part. Um, and in between there are patios and gardens and places for people to enjoy. Um, you have a great deal of activities to do. You have anything and everything you could need. It's more of the very sort of like a hotel. You are honored guests at the hotel, and that's how you've been treated. People treat you with a great deal of respect because you did your job for a very long time, and unlike some others, you made it to old age. Uh, Being a super is not exactly a non-perilous job. It comes with its people do tend to show a great deal of respect for older supers. There is only one very strict rule at hi Dudley at at the Cosmic Retirees Home, and that is that you are retired. You have chosen to retire. No more shenanigans. No adventures. No hoopla. No nonsense. Nothing. You are retired when you come in here, and you have signed a contract that says, I am done villaining or heroing or henching or spying. I'm retired now, and there will be no nonsense. And if you use your powers as a sort of general everyday thing, that's fine. Nobody, if you're using them on yourself or perhaps on your environment, maybe you use your telekinesis to clean up after yourself. You're allowed to do that, obviously, but you're not allowed to use your powers on other people without their consent, and you can't. They would much prefer if you didn't do things like try to influence the board members and that sort of thing. So use you're required to use your powers responsibly and respectfully, and respectful of the fact that you are retired. So it's also that because this place houses everyone, you also need to leave your past. Oh, great! Now I forgot the word. The word for nemesis. Your nemesis no longer. You are all your past relationships, hatreds. You leave them at the door. because you've retired now, and those don't matter. So you're allowed to not like people, obviously, but they would ask um, that you don't fight about it. Keep it to you know. So most residents have resorted to there's quite a big gossip network, and there's a lot of dirty looks and very but as long as you keep it outwardly polite, no one's going to say anything. Um, so you have this beautiful, very modern, very well appointed home to live in with anything you could really want. I'd like maybe the characters to just sort of tell me about like what sort of things do they do in their day with this place. Um, who would I think? Let me see who I've got here in my order. Can I have maybe I've got Earl Grey up first here. Can we hear about the Earl's what is his room like? What does he sort of do on a daily basis?
His, his room probably looks like one of those old style classic offices, leather couch, books on the wall, everything cliche, prim and proper. His main focus in life is in his retirement is still to stay on schedule, because one must always have tea at the proper time, and we cannot go off that. I mean, we also need our pills at the proper time too, because and so he makes a bother of himself, making sure everything goes as
Um,
planned.
with his little, I imagine he has a little pocket watch
Oh, absolutely.
timer, and he drives all the staff crazy with the "You are 3 seconds late today."
He always had control issues and they haven't gone away.
I love that. What's his favorite activity day?
Well, croquet, of course.
I like it. Okay.
One has to play a sport where you can have your tea.
Yeah. Sip your tea, hit the ball, yeah, or hit the ball, go over, sit down, sip your tea. Yeah, it works. Awesome. Can I have Chris tell me about Roger the neighbor?
Absolutely. Roger spends most of his time in some kind of group therapy or conflict resolution circle. Um, all of them, really, because he excels in talking to people, talking to them, getting them to calm down. He sees himself as someone, as a mediator who can, some of the hotter tempers, maybe cool them down a little bit. Some of the more cantankerous residents, get them to abide by what the staff is trying to get them to do. He is just trying to live according to the precepts of his mentor, Fred Rogers, aka Mr. Rogers,
Yeah.
of Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. His
Does
room,
does he knit his own sweater, his own
oh,
cardigan?
an avid knitter. He is knitting not only for himself but for others as well, because sharing is caring. He is, when he's not in group, he is knitting. He is baking and bringing over pastries and pies and such to the other residents to try to keep everyone's spirits high. And in general, just trying to be the best neighbor that he absolutely can be.
He is a delight. If maybe a bit much.
A little bit.
Just a little bit. Laying it on a little thick there.
I get the feeling a bit much is the description for all of us.
Yeah. So par for the course for everybody. Yeah. Can I hear about Captain Valor?
Of course you can hear about Captain Valor. So, what does Captain Valor do? Well, Captain Valor wakes up in the morning, talks about himself in third person, and brushes his teeth while doing it. He likes to go and read the newspaper. Then he has lunch. And, occasionally plays a few games of canasta with some of the other retired people here at this home. After all, I do have a duty to the public. After all, there is no depends in patriotism or my breeches. Did I break everybody?
One-liners that I wasn't expecting it right away.
Oh, maybe we should have.
Kori knows me well.
So basically, he doesn't really see himself as one of the residents. He sees himself almost like staff.
Oh,
Like he's there to help other people.
I'm here for the good people. Yes, always.
Yeah, yeah. I think the staff will play along and like give him like jobs to do.
Mm-hmm.
They give like on him. Like, obviously, he's capable. He can do some things, maybe. So, all those napkins really need folding.
I see Captain Vela being a very good bingo caller.
Oh, yes. That is like his job. Okay.
I can see that.
And I think now we get to hear about the Puma.
The Puma. Puma, also known as Mabel, which is her real name. Very sweet, very grandmotherly, and an absolute bundle of chaos within reason in her retirement age. Her favorite days are the days her grandchildren comes over, or beach days when she can just lay out on a nice beach chair in whatever shape, usually a cat form of some sort. Some of her favorite activities also include gently messing with the cheaper acrylic yarns that Roger uses. Never tangling them up, just that little, just a little bit of mischief. She was a former villain. She still is a villain.
Yeah.
She does have her minions among the staff. So,
is that generally known among everyone, or is that kind of like on the down low?
It's generally known.
Okay.
Her youngest henchman, when she retired, just kind of migrated to be on staff dedicated to her. That way she still gets to order somebody around just a little bit. But it's mainly just to go out and get her sushi when she's hungry. Because it's the one thing that the residential kitchen doesn't quite get right is sushi.
They just can't. Well, you got to have the chef with special knife, and yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And it's up for debate whether she prefers causing mischief against the neighbor or against Captain Valor. And it's usually just like the minor stuff, just enough to be like cute but annoying.
Like intentionally making someone slow down, maybe even to throw off the Earl Grey's schedule now and then.
Just enough.
Just enough to annoy them. Yes. What was that from there was a Simpsons when Bart gets superpowers. The first thing he says is, "I will only use this power to annoy." And I thought, yeah, that sounds like you.
She will back down if somebody is getting genuinely upset. But otherwise, she's just, all these heroes in this community, they need just a little bit of poking every now and then.
Awesome.
Well, if I could toss out something really quick, I do definitely want to say thanks to Matt Orr from Wedding Games, who donated $5 for this game for a general reroll or some sort of low-end reward, whatever you have. And also, I want to say thank you so much to Accept Fate, who just donated $25. Thank you so much for tossing that out there for us. And so I'm letting the GM know about that.
Awesome.
Nice.
All right. Well, you have been, going about your business. Everything's been fine. There's been nothing particularly notable going on. It's just the usuals. until there's been a treatment van that's been showing up, and some of the other residents are being taken away for treatments in this van. They apparently aren't doing them. They're being told they needed to be taken away to get these treatments. So since you got a boon right away, you've all just noticed that this is they haven't asked. You haven't been offered these treatments so far. They seem to select certain people in really sure way. But there's maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's simply a new treatment. Who knows? Who knows? But today, a van has shown up. You just happen to notice. In the middle of whatever it is, before lunch, sort of that time between breakfast and lunch where you start to figure out what to do until lunch comes around. And you notice this van's showed up.
Are there markings on this van, or is it just kind of plain?
It says it's from the local hospital. The nearby hospital.
Have we noticed the people who have been taken away? Is there anything in common? Were they former heroes, former supers, former something else?
I guess you'd have to go and talk to each other and ask each other those sorts of things, because you don't individually. You've all simply noticed that this is happening. The couple people get out of the van. They look to be just average people. They get a couple of transport wheelchairs and back of one out of the back of the van, and they have two little shawls. These look like warm, blankets, things that they throw in the bed on the chair, and when they come inside the building, they seem to be talking to each other about. And I imagine you were all in one of the activity rooms. There was watercolor this morning. And you've all kind of done, I guess you've all kind of done as much as you're going to do on your painting. And you're just kind of looking around, and you happen to notice the van, you're right near the front of the building, so you see the van pull up, and you see these people get out. You seem to be going over to one of the residential areas.
My watercolor pictures, without a doubt, Washington crossing the Delaware. Watercolor.
Yeah, you paint like a stream going through a forest with and you're like just in the Delaware. That's amazing. Do you want to roll to see how good it is?
Absolutely. Why not? Let's get it rolling. All right.
We should all roll to see how good our watercolors are.
So, what? 2d10. Yes.
You roll 2d10. If you get 6 or less, total failure. 7 to 12 is a partial failure. Is sort of you kind of achieve something. Maybe not exactly what you wanted, but some. And 13 or more, success. I forgot to ask. Criticals, so either 2 1s or 2 10s. Do we want to play with those as being critical fail and critical boon?
I say yes.
Okay.
That's me.
Absolutely.
It's optional, so I just thought I'd ask.
All right. So adding the total of the two together, I end up with an 11.
11. So you've partially failed. You didn't entirely get it. It's not perfect, but it's not the worst. So, however
And
you
I
choose to
And if you
interpret
squint really hard, it also looks partially like a bald eagle.
There may be a couple of hidden, like tiny hamster-sized paw prints in the snow, or what looks like the snow.
So, did everybody see how good your paintings are? Just for fun.
I
I
rolled.
did. I did.
Yeah.
What'd you get?
Well, Mabel got a 7, but she may have been more interested in adding little touches to other people's paintings than her own.
Sneaking up and this little paw just kind of creeping up at the corner of the back.
Sasha,
Yeah,
please.
too busy messing with everybody else to finish her own. You're only working. You're like, I'm totally working. Yeah, that's adorable.
It's an abstract.
They got the colors, most of them.
I buy my paintings. I don't paint myself.
It's okay. The instructor's just like encouraging you, do your thing. How did the neighbor do?
The neighbor was trying to paint a picture of a suburban neighborhood. He rolled an 8, so that's a partial failure. So you can see what he was attempting to do, but it looks really messy and kind of washed out. Maybe he put just a little bit too much water in the watercolors, or yeah. It looks like maybe like a 4-year-old did it. You can tell, like, he's trying to keep it visible from his face, but you can tell he's disappointed in himself. He's just like, that was not exactly what I was trying to go for here, but, as Bob Ross once said, remember there are no mistakes, only happy little accidents.
You tried. Good try. How did the Earl do?
The Earl doesn't do anything if he doesn't do it right. He rolled a 16. So there is just this glorious manor house with gardens.
The instructor's like, Dex. So the instructor's gone off to to look over everyone else's as you have seen these people coming through. And they've headed into can I stop looking at chat? It's distracting me. So they're heading off. You guys are sort of left in the classroom, left in the room. You guys are basically done. Other people aren't done yet, so the instructor is sort of distracted working with some other people.
Hey,
I think if anybody was going to know anything about what might be going on, it would be the neighbor. And Mabel's gonna kind of approach, like, just in general conviviality and maybe a little bit of consolation. At least yours looks like something. Pointing to the mess on her canvas. Not that she tried.
I mean, to be fair, I think you were trying to give more support to others and contributing to their paintings than you were your own. So,
I mean,
which I appreciated. I can see the little paw prints on mine, and you know what? That makes me feel special.
you're
So
welcome.
thank you.
and that's why she is a true friend. And I come up
She
and
is.
I put an arm around Puma and I'm just like, you have tried and passed to get under Captain Valor's skin, but he seems to interpret even your meanest prank as friendship. You know,
Who doesn't?
I love that about it.
neighbor, are you okay? You look a little red, white, and blue all over.
You know what? I appreciate your concern. It's just, have y'all noticed that there are some people who've been coming around and picking up some of the residents, and then just those residents never come back from their treatment.
Or something. You don't.
It makes me a little concerned. A couple people from one of my groups, my 3 p.m. Haven't come back yet, and it's got me a little rattled. It's got me a little concerned.
That is. Like, I figured if anybody would know anything about that, it would be you.
I mean, they
Yeah,
claim to be
just
men
like
from the hospital, doing some kind of treatment, but that's about all I haven't really had a chance to talk to them yet, but um,
I mean, with the exception of stuff that can be handled here, mostly they come to us, don't they?
usually.
The people haven't come back, but they were only taken. Those people you noticed in your 3 p.m. were only taken yesterday. So when he says they haven't come back, it's not it's not been that long.
Huh.
But the neighbor cares, so anything longer than typical is concerning, I'm assuming.
Look at my watch. One of those was my bridge partner. That's not on.
Oh, there's a word.
So,
Now I can't remember it.
Has anyone
No.
tried surveillance yet? My efforts have failed, but I am not exactly skilled in cloak and dagger, I believe is what they call it.
Which you all know you have to be because of the golden rule: no shenanigans. You all are remembering that if you're going to start investigating this silliness, you're going to have to be pretty discreet about it.
Yes. Yes.
At that
Some
point,
people-
Mabel. Oops, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to comment. Some people here aren't known for their subtlety. Looking at Captain Valor.
Well, I've tried to follow him once, one of these orderlies before, and I think that he was just too wise to what I was doing. And if you actually, any of you ever saw, I was probably like sauntering behind one of these guys pushing a wheelchair down the hall by about 5 feet, not hiding, not doing anything, just literally.
And then get distracted by something. And, yeah.
At least you weren't narrating yourself at that time.
Well,
That
imagine
time.
That time.
I'm
Well,
sneaking around this corner. Yeah.
They will never see me.
I don't know about y'all, but I think it's about time for my 11 a.m. walk. And you see Mabel shapeshift into just a standard-looking house cat. Like, just no big deal. And she saunters off in the general direction of one of those orderlies.
Okay. Yeah, you see one of the orderlies has gone down. There's sort of two main hallways down. There's big hallways down the middle where everything sort of meets. So it's really easy. You just kind of go to the center and you can kind of see where they're going. And you see that they're going down into one of the areas of with the residents. They're going to pick up one of the residents. They're going into Pyro's room. Pyro is a guy who used to have had fire powers. He was a hero because he was a firefighter, and so he used his fire powers to put out fires. And He doesn't particularly use his powers very much, but he does love himself a cigar, and so the only real sort of time you ever really see him use it is he just sort of snaps his fingers and lights his own cigars, and he's a part of the local safety committee. He must make sure that the kitchen and he's always making sure everything's up to code. So he's being taken for treatment. He seems, and you sort of trot up behind them as they're saying, okay, Mr. What was his name? I gave him a real name here. Okay, Mr. Ed, Mr. Brown, we're taking you to the hospital for your treatment now. He's like, what treatment? What do you mean? And they said, well, didn't the director tell you? We're coming to give you, I didn't. Hang on, I'm sorry. I missed something. We're coming to give you nanowave treatment. He said, what's that? And I said, don't worry. You'll see it. We'll explain it all when we get there. You got to see the machine. It's too hard to explain without seeing the machine. And you see one of them. They're sort of helping him into the chair, and one of them picks up one of the shawls off the blanket, off of the chair that they brought in, sort of puts it around his shoulder and helps him get into the chair. And you're just watching this sort of happen. But they were a little, usually most orderlies are very patient. They always give themselves a lot of time to make sure that the residents can sort of make their own way. But these orderlies were pretty rushed. They really getting him into that chair real quick. And by the time they sort of, he's still trying to ask questions, but they keep telling him, just don't worry about it. You'll see when we get to the hospital. And by the time they've got him sort of everything ready, and one of them pulled out signs him out on a chart. He's fallen asleep in the chair.
Now, I'm assuming I'm familiar with Pyro, just in general.
Yeah.
Would he be the kind of older man to have needed a wheelchair assistance out into the van?
Yeah, maybe yes or no. I mean, it's kind of a choice. Like, he's just a bit of a slow walker. He's got bad hips. He could have made it, but also sometimes he'll take the chair. It's kind of a, however he's feeling that day. But they didn't. You notice that they didn't ask, do you want to walk or do you want to take the chair today? They just put him in the chair.
Now, when they put the shawl around his shoulders, is that when he started to get sleepy, or did it just one minute he's awake and then I turn around and he's just kind of asleep like old men tend to do sometimes?
That's gonna need a thinkery check.
A thinkery check? All right. That is going to be a double 10. And I can send you the screenshot to prove it. So total that would be a 22.
I'm just gonna roll to see if they notice you while this is happening, but you're not gonna believe this.
Uh-oh.
Did you
I
both?
rolled a double 10.
What?
Wow. The odds.
On camera. Wow.
Wow.
Wild.
I approve of this. This just makes my life interesting.
1 in a million odds. Like, I feel like I should have bought a lottery ticket or something. love that. So just as you're sitting there watching them, and you're like, they're a little brusque, like, but maybe you're trying to be charitable. You're like, maybe they haven't, maybe they've had a hard day and they're just being a little rushed. But then you don't take your eyes off of them, and you notice they wrap this shawl around him. They sit him down in the chair, and he's out.
Mm.
And he was asking questions. He's a generally pretty easygoing kind of guy. He'd go along, but he was just wanted some answers. But all of a sudden, he's out. And they, both of the orderlies, turn as they're coming out, and they look right at you. And you are in a wide open hallway with nowhere to hide. And they're spotting you, and they're like, "Oh,
She's going to do that back roll, the belly up sort of greeting, like, no.
And they're like, "No, they told us about you." Because they wouldn't have known if they didn't get the double tens, but they told us about you. You're one of the residents.
Just,
want us to report you for some shenanigans?
Ears back, tail swish.
I
And
show
they're
up
like,
in that moment.
and they start to wheel him away, but they kind of like, keep looking back at you like, are you gonna cause trouble? Or are we gonna have to, are you gonna say anything? Are you gonna follow us, or are you gonna? Yeah, they're watching to see if you follow them.
She's going to sit there and just kind of do the indignant paw cleaning sort of thing.
Yeah, like
until they're out of sight.
I didn't care. They didn't bother me. I'm fine.
Mhm.
Okay, and then so they go around the corner, and they've gone into the main area. What are the rest of you doing while this has happened?
I imagine that Captain Valor is still attempting his surveillance, but seeing that it needs to be a little bit more covert so he hasn't been covert, and now we need to go to the opposite end of the spectrum. So he's probably at the end of the hallway, hiding behind a potted plant, which obviously he can't see anything. But so he's sitting there, and he's just like, I cannot be seen. And at the same time, I do want to shout out and thank Ronnie Schenkel. Thank you so much for your $50 donation for the charity. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
That is awesome. Let me know if you guys want to affect the game in any way. You can send me a message, or let John know, and we'll I'll work it in. Because I can do that. So yeah, you can't be seen.
I'm
Would
one
you
with
say
the plant.
one plant? And so you see them. They walk past you, being one with the plant. They sort of glance over at you, like, okay, sure, buddy. Just give him a weird look and keep going. They don't really seem to see as a threat at this point. Are the other two gonna? What are you two doing?
While they were heading that way, I wanted to slip outside and use my blend in ability just to check out the van, see if there's anything odd about it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so you just as because you're using your blend in ability, you wait until there's a fairly large family comes in they're talking about coming to visit someone, and you just sort of slip in. They're leaving, and so they they're leaving from having visited someone, and so you sort of slip out with them, and nobody notices you. slipping out, and so you go check the van. And is there a rule involved in that ability, or is that just your?
Yes, there is.
Okay, so give me a roll. We'll see if you can get away with pretending to be one of the family.
And I got what would be my plus for that one?
Does it say in the power?
Um,
If it doesn't say in the power, then you
luck,
just
athleticism, or quick thinking. It looks like whatever I want to use.
whatever you want to use.
Then that is 12.
Well, nice.
Nice.
Okay, so you're pretty good. It's not until you manage to slip into the group, you get through the doors, you get out, but you're slipping away from the group toward the van is a little awkward.
A
You're
gentleman
like,
with a cane and a bowler hat kind of stands out sometimes.
just for a second, because you're walking by yourself, out of this group, and and so you do stand out a little bit, but you're like, no, I'm pretty sure I got that. Totally smooth. And you get to the van. What would you like to do when you're at the van?
Now that I'm closer, I want to make sure that logo looks authentic. I'm sure I've had lots of experience as wrangling things and working with other officials as a secret agent to recognize the van's logo, just see if it actually does look right. And then just kind of like if I can peek in, see if there's like any types of like strange restraints or anything that wouldn't look natural.
Okay. Well, it looks like a standard sort of white transport van. It has, just from what you can see, there's just some straps and things for transporting wheelchairs. So nothing sort of out of the ordinary. Oh, okay. Hey, don't bite him. This beast. The size of this beast.
I mean, that's Mabel in cat form, essentially.
Mr. Step Doubly.
Those eyes. Goodness.
So cute.
But he likes to bite the Ansel, and so I have to watch him. Ansel is just sleeping just off the camera right here. And he just walked up and sniffed his paw and then went, ah. No, biting. Now he doesn't want me to put him down. Okay, so as you're looking at the hospital van, you do, I mean, it looks like a standard hospital van. The logo seems legit. It does seem like it, came from the hospital. You've seen these vans before, because there are some medical treatment centers within the home, but they only cover sort of basic, common treatments, necessary treatments. So you've seen, it's not totally unheard of for people to be taken out for, and especially like things like MRIs, the build, your place doesn't have one of those. So from a quick look around, there doesn't seem to be anything out of the ordinary.
Before I slip away, I want to jot down the license and if the registration number's in the window, and I want the license plate.
Okay.
I have connections. I can look things up. I'm sure.
All right. Yeah, you get those. And there is a portion of the van that you can't see, but again, there's a lot of these hospital vans contain supplies, so
I don't want to make myself too obvious, so
yeah, you're just kind of doing like a couple circles around the van, and then
when I'm on the back side, looking at a little bit more where people aren't seeing me. But
Okay.
if I open a door stuff, that's gonna
that would really notice it. Yeah.
I just basically trying to see if this an actual van from the hospital in various ways.
It seems to be, as far as you can tell.
Like I said, I want to run those numbers later.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so now we're gonna have you. We'll see if you can sneak back. Well,
Would I be able to, while Earl Grey is out, can I stop and actually talk to them? Partially so I can provide cover, because I noticed him slipping out the door. I'm like, okay, I see what's happening here.
okay.
So I'm going to provide a distraction. I also want to try to maybe see if I can get some information for them. So I just walk up and I go, "Gentlemen, welcome. I don't believe I've had the pleasure of making your company. My name is Roger. They call me the neighbor. It's a pleasure to meet you."
Oh, nice to meet you too. And they both.
Firm handshakes, very very nice. What's Mr. Brown? You said you're taking him for some kind of treatment. I wasn't aware that he was needing any kind of treatment. What kind of treatments do y'all give at the hospital?
Well, like we're just the orderlies. We just sort of help move people. We don't really know a lot of the details. You really have to ask um, you would have to ask Dr. Gold about that. But Dr. Gold, all I know is that it's a new treatment that Dr. Gold has devised, and that some of the residents here are qualified for. So, supposed to help you feel better. That's what they tell us. Anyway, we should really get there. We're running a little late.
Would either of you care for a slice of apple pie? I happen to have an apple pie here right with me. And you know what? It is just delicious.
Sincerely tempted. One of them is looking sincerely tempted by this, and the other one's like,
Oh,
"Oh, no, we gotta go."
No, you don't have time just for one slice. I've got the plates here. I've got forks. It will only take just a few moments.
Hard
and-
for one of them to say no to my.
do you want me to roll like a charm check to see if I can get them to? Okay, I'll roll a charm
that
check.
would be great.
Just like carrying this tote bag, or are you just pulling up out of nowhere?
I imagine
No,
it's more like
I walked up with
yeah.
the pie in hand. This was all part of the plan.
I like it. Let's see.
That is
Charm.
17. Rolled a 10 and a 4.
That's amazing. Okay, so yeah, they're like, it smells so good. And then one of them is just like, I can't. I have to. It's my favorite. And the other one's just like, come on, he's asleep. We gotta go. But they can't help but stop and eat a little.
And as they're eating,
You're just so gosh darn charming.
those shawls are just, I'm sure there's a couple people here at the residence that would love to have one of those. Where did you get them?
Oh, I don't know. This is Dr. Gold makes them, I think. Just said, it's a little chilly today. We should bring them.
Oh, well, I'm sure that Mr. Brown would rather have a shawl from his own room rather than this one. Why don't I go ahead and I've got a spare shawl here with me. We could just swap them out real quick. It won't be any problem.
We're not supposed to do that because we don't want to lose any of the residents' items. So we were told not to take anything in case it gets lost. Because Dr. Gold doesn't want to be responsible for lost items.
Well, see, the thing is, I knitted this shawl myself, so...
It's very nice.
It is very nice.
Oh, it's so soft.
So, he doesn't have to know. I'm certainly not going to tell on you, What kind of neighbor would I be if I did that?
Can I walk up at this moment?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I walk up and I look at them and I cross my arms. So I'm like, you have to ask yourself, what would Maya Angelou do?
We'll stop and just look at you. I'll just stop and turn and look at you. And I'm just waiting.
What's that?
I look at all of them. I'm just like,
You know what? What would Maya Angelou do?
No. Anyway, we gotta go. We're late. Okay, bye. And they give you back the plates, and they kind of like very awkwardly and like not at all sure what just happened. And they both just kind of like rush out, like, what's going on? And they kind of go past Earl Grey coming in as they're going out, and they start loading him into the van, which was locked, by the way. You notice they do unlock it before, so you're like, okay, probably a good thing I wasn't trying the doors.
It seemed unlikely they would have left it unlocked.
Yeah. So they're starting to load him into the van. Are you gonna try and do anything now, or are you gonna go back and well, you wanted to run your numbers, and I suppose you have to come together to discuss your.
Captain, I was that close. I was
That close to getting caught. Surveillance is about being hidden.
And
I
you were
wasn't
about as
surveilling.
subtle
I was charming them with pie, which is what I do. I almost
Captain-
had one of those shawls. That close.
Your plan has as many holes as Hoover's French lace stockings.
I don't think he had French lace stockings last time I checked. And this is where Puma comes up.
Puma, what information were you able to glean?
Some sort of nanowave treatment.
They mentioned a Dr. Gold. He is apparently the one giving the treatment, or at least that's what the orderlies say.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to leave the campus?
Oh yeah, yes, but they generally just would like to know sort of where you're going and why, like sort of general idea of where you're going, because it's not because they're trying to control you. It's because they're trying to stop you from getting into shenanigans.
Earl, did you get any good information?
You have, yeah.
I have to run some numbers to make sure.
Okay.
Sounds good. Maya Angelou?
Yes.
What did that have to do with anything?
That society itself is built upon how we treat our most vulnerable members.
Okay, yeah, that is actually that's a pretty good point.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, Captain. I should have never doubted you.
It's okay. We all have our moments, like surveillance.
Yeah. Right now, I don't think there's much we can do unless we can get on that ourselves. And they somehow recognized me, despite being my adorable feline self.
That did strike me as odd that they knew about you.
Yeah.
I mean,
It
you
appears
do
to be
turn into a cat like all the time in front of everybody. So
Yeah. But I mean, it's also a retirement home. There are plenty of cats wandering around.
the van appeared genuine, so they may be from the hospital, but or it may have been stolen.
Well, we'll certainly look up that stuff.
Can I go Can I make a call and find out?
for sure, because you've got your I mean, you know, thankfully you got your own phone, so you can make phone calls, but of course you're going to close the door and not tell anybody about it. What role do you have to do? Is it in your? Is there a role for that one, or?
It depends on whether, I mean, it doesn't really fall into calling and backup all that much because it's not like I'm calling in reinforcements.
Okay.
And just unless you want to consider it that, then
I'm just trying to find spy section
yeah.
here in the book. Here
I
we
mean, it
go.
is otherwise help, so I could do it that way.
Yeah, you are looking for help. Because I would say that falls under that one. So, that would be a charm roll.
And then with my I have my character sheet. With my pluses, that's a 13.
Awesome. All
Still
right.
pretty
I
good.
am very charming.
You're pretty charming. You are very, very charming. Where's my Yeah. You actually managed to get through to someone at the agency who, recognizes you and
Orange Pico hasn't quite retired yet, so I reached out to him.
your whole division is named after types of tea.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, well, we are high tea.
Yeah.
That's the organization.
Lord Rooibos, Captain Chamomile. Yeah. Um,
We keep breaking you.
just love it as a concept. I think it's great. These like British posh types, but with superpowers. It's so great. So they get right ahead, old chap, and you have to get it through right away, and they look it up and says, seems to be a right proper hospital van, owned by the hospital. Seems to be all that part of the pool. So there's just like a carpool for the hospital that has a handful of vans that like um if any that sort of be picked up by anybody in the hospital and sort of used as needed.
And it hasn't been reported missing or anything.
Nope,
Hmm.
it's a legitimate hospital van from the pool, so it's not from any particular department, and it doesn't have it's not like from the obstetrics or something, you know. It's a
Doesn't
dedicated department. So it could
it
be.
doesn't it does appear whoever is doing this is affiliated with the hospital, at least has connections with it.
Yeah. Are we all part of the hospital system in some way, shape, or form? Like, just as patients?
Oh yeah.
Would there be such a thing as a My Chart for this hospital? The app called My Chart. I don't know if y'all are familiar with it
Yeah.
as a thing.
I
Very
don't think it's that in Canada, but
with a patient portal, basically.
He has a patient portal.
you would have like just basic, whatever sort of general basic access you have to your own personal information.
Oh, yeah. I know that the Baylor Scott and White one, which is local here, um, has a doctor lookup function. Would I be able to look up Dr. Gold and get results?
Yeah. Let me see, what should we roll for that? Thinkery. You want thinkery or luck?
Well, both are a 2, so.
You pick which one you want, which one you think your character would lean more on. And
Thinkery here, but either way, that's a 9 and an 8 on the die for a grand total of a 19.
nice. Okay. You scan the page, and there doesn't seem to be. Now, the doctor lookup is generally for general practitioners and also specialists. So you can look up, neurologists or whatever.
The
But
practicing doctors.
you don't find a Dr. Gold in this doctor lookup. There doesn't
Probably.
seem to be an official. But you also know that this hospital is a research hospital.
Yeah.
But they're not, whoever this Dr. Gold is, they are not a practicing doctor, and they are not a specialist in any way that accepts patients that you found through this.
And I do pass on that information. Just, Well, that was a dead end, but crosses off. We know more information now.
I mean, if he's a research doctor as opposed to, say, a GP or a specialist, they have to publish papers. Could try to locate one of his research papers in Journal of Medicine or other kind of periodical.
You do have a well-stocked library.
Yeah.
In your building. But you remember, you have to, if you're going to go do some researching in the library, you better make sure that you're not doing it in a way that indicates you might be up to some shenanigans. Because they're very strict about this. Any groups of people talking together start to get watched to make sure that there's no plotting.
I mean,
or
it would be easy enough for us to want to maybe get this treatment ourselves. It seems like our neighbors are getting this treatment, which is supposed to make them feel better. Why don't we just go try to find him and say that we're looking for his contact information? We tried to reach out to the orderlies, but they weren't allowed to give it to us. So we're trying to get it ourselves.
So is this what you're going to tell the librarian?
Absolutely.
Okay. Let me get a charm from you on. And if anybody would like to help, you can help them out. Anybody else would like to bat their eyelashes sweetly and innocently?
Well, I'm charming, but that lie doesn't work for me. I don't have powers.
Right.
I'm going to go ahead and spend one of my failure bank, reroll one of my dice.
Nice.
Okay, that is a 13.
Awesome. Okay. So the librarian's like, oh, well, I don't really keep up with the treatment stuff. So yeah, go ahead. They take a second and they look up, some journals, and they go help you sort of find the right section. And they pull out a few books for you and put them out and leave you to it. You are able to, they let you know, like, hey, this is all pretty technical stuff. So I'm not sure how much you're gonna pick up on this if you don't know medicine. But more power to you. If you want to learn what's going on.
Would you like a slice of pie?
Oh, I can't eat in the library, dear. No food in the library.
Oh, come on. You can make an exception just this once, just for yourself. You need to do something nice for yourself.
I'll take it. And they'll sneak away with a piece of pie.
Give them a wink.
But no pie in the library. You keep that in your bag.
Absolutely. Scout's honor.
Scout thing too, I can see it. All right. So are all of you in the library now? Are you gonna kind of join together for this?
Why not? Yeah.
I think I'd like to go visit the director of the facility, because the orderlies mentioned the director in the thing too, right? So Mapple's gonna go have a nice little chat with the director.
Saunter over, okay.
Like in her human form, because it's like you can't really talk when you're an animal, unless it's to another animal.
If you don't mind, I will go with you.
No, you're more than welcome.
Okay, perfect. So, so two of you are researching in the library, and two of you are going to go talk to the director. That's fantastic. Can we do a very short break right now?
Absolutely.
Just need a little bio break, so just
Alright.
a couple of minutes. I will be right back.
All right, no problem. We'll be back, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and turn us over to a timer, and we'll see y'all in this bit. And hi, we are back. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our fundraiser for the Indie Game Developer Network sponsorship for the Diversity Fund. And just a reminder, if you look to this side of me for this stream, you will see a marquee that is right there right now, showing the GoFundMe that we are using for donations today. Don't worry about signing up for our channel. Don't worry about donating to us. Donate to them. And if you do donate, be sure you mention it in the chat and let us know what your rewards you want, and we'll get it in there. But otherwise, I'm turning it back over to Sharene. So it is your show again.
All right. So we have half the party going to visit the director, and we have half the party doing some research in the library on the stalker they've heard about. So I think we'll start with the director.
All right.
What are the two of you going to? How are you going to approach this?
Unless you've got a plan, I can make a fuss about the disruption of schedule.
I think I've got some semblance of a plan. I hope. And Mabel's just gonna quite casually walk into the director's office. Just be her charming self. And hey, I was visiting with Pyro earlier. And then apparently had an appointment earlier that we both forgot about.
Sorry, you had an appointment?
No. Pyro had an appointment that we both forgot about. Kind of find it odd. We're usually not the forgetful types.
Uh-huh. He got well, I can't discuss other residents' medical
I understand that. That's HIPAA and all that whatever stuff. I'm just kind of curious as to how do I get on that list? I heard something talking to the orderlies, getting them ready about qualifications or something.
Oh. Well, I could recommend you, I suppose. I'll have to give your information to Dr. Gold to see if you qualify.
That'd be great. Kind of curious.
I don't know the technical. The doctor tried to explain it to me, and it just made me dizzy. All of the medical terms.
I mean, yeah, it'd make me dizzy.
But
Decades of knowledge to process that.
My Lord Earl Grey, are you interested in signing up and having your?
I was more curious about what time people are scheduled to leave, because there are things everyone has planned, and then they are up and missing their appointments. We have to keep on schedule.
Behind Earl Grey, there's an exaggerated eye roll from Mabel. Just gotta play it up.
Just imagining the Earl's desk is covered in this absolutely massive schedule in which every single person, who lives and works in this place has been meticulously scheduled.
Oh yeah, well, especially yesterday, Genevieve was taken away. She is my bridge partner. I need her back by tomorrow.
Oh well, I'm sure she's. Let me check. And the director, they sit down for a second, and they kind of look through their book, and then they look on the computer. Um, and Genevieve is scheduled to return today. And she'll be all right. I'm sorry she's a bit late for her game. They told me she was coming back.
What time should I expect her? We need to go over our strategy. Serious business.
I'm afraid I can't say exactly. Let me call the. The director is used to the Earl's demands and schedule, um, and they absolutely hate it when they have a question like that, where it's like, I don't actually know when they're coming back, because it's like whenever the orderlies bring them back is the answer, but like he won't accept that answer, so they're gonna have to find an answer. So they're gonna get on the phone and phone the hospital. And just going to send you out of the room um, to make the phone call.
Very
And
well.
so, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, I was.
You said you got us on the room, so very well, but I will be expecting an answer.
Yes, my lord. Yes. Of course. Of course. I love this character so much. You guys made amazing characters. I love them. They're all so themselves. They have such, they're very distinctively themselves. It's pretty great. So we're gonna switch over to our friends, the neighbor, and why is his name avoided? Captain Valor. There we are.
Can you forget Captain Valor? He says his name 70 times a day.
Valor is in the kitchen. Captain Valor's in the hallway.
I am invisible.
So, do you declare out loud that you are studying when you start reading your book?
Helping and turning the page. So, neighbor, what should I be looking for?
Well, we're trying to find any research done by this Dr. Gold. Be helpful if we knew a little bit more about him. So I'm guessing that's probably going to be like a thinkery check.
Yeah.
Do research.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what are you looking for? So first, you're just looking for like any papers written by Dr. Gold.
Correct, or that he is listed on.
Yeah. Okay. So so you've got this would be a thinkery check, and you have in front of you the librarian pulled out, because you rolled well. The librarian pulled out everything you could possibly find this in. So
okay.
I know what I'll be doing while you do that. I'll be looking at the periodicals on microfiche. I'm going to use a search engine really quick and see if I can find a listing just for the way the name is spelled. And how is do we know that part at least? Is it Gould, or was it Gould or Gold, or?
It was always said as gold, like the metal.
I'm going to start off by searching for just a headline in the last 10 years without the doctor, and then I'll search for the doctor.
Okay.
I got a 14.
So, okay. You guys are constantly succeeding. We've only had one instance of the failure pool being used needed even. It's just interesting. So it's been awesome. You guys have been just super lucky. It's great. So you find that there is only one paper published, written by Dr. Gold, and it's in a sort of um, uh, it's in a lesser known university's neurology paper. And you can find it tells you where to find the paper.
Okay. Am I able to see what the subject of the paper was?
Yeah, it says it's something to do with nerve regeneration with nanowave technology. You've never heard of a nano?
Can I find the is the paper listed here in these different
Yep.
periodicals? Okay. I will try to pull up the paper.
Okay. You look it up. Um, the summary says something about how nanowave technology has shown improvement in nerve damaged patients, and then it goes on to a very complicated medical and technical, because there's also a machine involved. So the following explanation is extremely technical. You can try and give it a read.
Well, I'm more concerned with how the paper was received. Normally, these are published in peer-reviewed journals. Does it seem like that this Dr. Gold is well respected in his field, or is he kind of treated as like a quack?
I think you're kind of getting quack vibes, but also like seems to be so new that nobody really knows what to make of it, and just barely qualified for um, publish to be published. Like just barely scraped over those. What's the word I'm looking for?
Like it meets the bare minimum
Yeah,
requirements.
requirements. Yeah, bare minimum. Yeah. Um, but like, it doesn't seem to be a lot of commentary or anything on it, because like nobody really knows what to make of it, and it's extremely recent.
I mean, based off of what I can make out of the paper, does it seem like this is like, yeah, this would actually work and doing what it's supposed to be doing, or were there any? You know
Uh,
what? Given my previous background of who I used to be, I'm more concerned about the side effects, not the actual end results.
okay.
What side effects do these nanowaves have on people?
You are gonna have to do. Now this is gonna be really hard because you don't, as far as I remember, have any kind of medical or technical background. Okay. So we're gonna do a sort of roll it at disadvantage
Okay.
here, where you're gonna be. How do they explain that? Where you have to re-roll one of your dice and take the lower result.
Okay. Okay, that is an 11.
Okay.
That is a partial failure.
Okay. Um. So you have absolutely no idea how any of this works. None. It makes no sense to you. But especially with your um you try reading through this, you're reading through other stuff about the doctor, reading through the way people are approaching him, You know a con when you see one. This is not just technobabble, it's intentionally obfuscated. It's intentionally written to be confusing. And you're not you really you're like, as far as does it work? You have no frame of reference for that. Um, you get from you know the title that there's some kind of nerve regeneration, but it sounds a lot like waves of energy are just sort of somehow doing this. And uh, yeah, that's the best you can come up
Okay.
with. And okay, what was the captain up to again?
So I
Remind me.
was kind of looking up information about the doctor himself,
Right.
trying to see what his background was or anything. Just if everybody in this universe is either a hero or a villain or has that opportunity, where did they fall on the spectrum? Which I did roll on the first. I rolled at first and got an 8.
Ooh.
But I would like to use my just let me try this again. I'm ready for it this time ability.
Yes. Yes, I love that one.
So that is going to be with my thinkery a 15.
Awesome. You when you search this, not only do you find like everything you were looking for because you rolled really well, you find a blog post by someone, and like it's kind of random that you came across this because this is just some teenager with like 10 followers, uh, but they're complaining about how uh, their grandparent is acting super weird now, and it's ever since they started seeing that Dr. Gold person. And every time I try to talk to them about it, I get the runaround, and I can't get any answers out of anybody. Um, does anybody know anything about this? Has anybody else had this problem? There's no responses because, of course, it's some teenager with 10 followers. But uh, if you look back on their post, you see that they have um, a grandparent. They never mention. They always just say grandparent, and they say they're not allowed to say who. Uh, uh, lives in one of the CRI homes,
Hmm.
and there's one where we never sort of decided where you guys live, but let's say it's a pretty large city, so there's a home here, and then there's maybe like a home like way on the other side of town. Uh, but you think, if they're going to the hospital that's close to this home, you're like, there's probably someone from here. So
Yeah, Captain.
grandpa,
Yeah, Captain
yeah,
Valor is reading this and he's just like his desire to inspire this child is pulling on him. It's pulling those heartstrings. He's just like,
yeah,
never fear. Uh, Justice is not just us.
Oh,
And so puts that in the comments for this kid's blog, and then it's like, neighbor, we have a job to do.
Yes, I believe you're right. We do.
I kind of point at the screen over, so you can see what I saw.
Yeah, I tried reading the paper. It was mostly technobabble, but as someone who's been in the business before, I know a con when I see one. This looks a lot like a con.
Well, I'm pretty sure that there must be legal loopholes involved in when the shenanigans come to us.
Shenanigans are only a problem if someone catches you.
Ooh,
So we
Nice.
just gotta make sure we don't
dagger.
get caught.
Maybe we
The
need to
dark.
do a symposium on that.
I think that would have the opposite intended effect of what we're trying to accomplish here, which is to stay under the radar.
Oh,
But
yeah.
I appreciate your enthusiasm. I appreciate your fervor and your passion, as always.
Thank you.
I think we need to go meet up with the others and share the information that we've come across. Sharing's caring, after all.
Someone should be keeping a counter of like how many times you say that's pretty fun.
Mhm.
All right, so you do get a call. The Earl, the director, gets back to you, says that uh, she should be back right after lunch. I can't say exactly when because the hospital said they're a little busy and traffic is quite bad. But it should be between 1 and 1:30. And
Very well.
it's coming up on noon now, so
I'll be watching.
I know you will. Thank you for your vigilance. This person has the patience of a saint. Um, so as it's lunchtime, um, you are it wouldn't be suspicious for you all to sort of, not that you often sit together, but I imagine that a few of you aren't beyond just randomly choosing someone to sit next to. So it won't. You're pretty sure that sitting, together for lunch won't raise any suspicions.
Mhm.
So you have they treat it more like a restaurant. Um, you have a menu uh, and waiters that come to you and serve you and that sort of thing. So you get exceptional service. And after you're all sat down and you've all got your uh, everything that you've demanded, I mean, asked for, put in front of you, you have you're pretty sure the waiter's not going to come around for a little bit now, so you have time to talk.
Mhm. Heck, we can even say one of my henchmen is our particular table waiter, so they're not gonna
That's
be
fantastic. Yes, absolutely. So
And as a target,
your hench tells you they've told the other waiters to stay away from your table today.
thank
That
you.
they are taking care of you. Don't worry about it.
I always
Wink, wink.
appreciate when you do it. I get better service
Yes.
that way.
Whatever you say, boss.
Oh, that's so nice to be respected.
Well, after
Well,
what we tell you, you might wish that you had your bar hench with you.
that's fair. So, y'all might not like what I have to tell y'all, though.
Ooh, I'd love to hear that. Well, I would not like to hear that, but it's important I do.
I put my name down on the list as a potential candidate. Don't know what candidacy means. Apparently, the director couldn't make heads or tails of whatever the doctor told her.
So he says.
So he said.
No, it reads like will. A bunch of sci-fi mumbo jumbo. I'm pretty sure half of these words are made up. They don't mean anything. Let's just say, given some of my previous predilections before I met Mr. Rogers, pretty sure this is a con of some kind. Haven't exactly figured out what the end goal is, but and then the captain also was able to uncover some information.
Indeed. Other patients have been taken, and they return, but they aren't quite themselves. Seem to be acting very odd, even so much that their family members notice. But it's always swept under the rug.
Well, dear Genevieve is due to be back sometime by 1:30, so we can question her freshly.
All right. Does the neighbor or the captain break down more specifically what was discovered in the archives? Like the the historical news article or the whatever it was. I cannot remember. I'm having a brain fart.
It's okay. I would try to relay it as well as I could, but it is the captain.
Yeah.
I would add in like the parts where he kind of starts to stumble a little bit. Like I'll just input a little bit extra, but for the most part, I would try to let the captain explain it as best he could.
All right. I'm going to go ahead and use my flashback for this scene.
Oh.
Because here's the thing. Her powers, Mabel's powers, are derived from magic. Does that sound like magic to her? So it is going to be luck unless you think it's going to be something else.
Yeah. That sounds great.
Well, that is a grand total of 10.
Okay.
So,
you remember one time you were being a cat, and this was, in your younger days, and you were a bit of a gossip in your neighborhood, and so of course being a cat gave you great opportunity to wander around, get some dirt on people, find out who's cheating on who or whatever, and you came across another cat, and you sort of walked up to them and started acting like another cat would, but they reacted very oddly to you. And you noticed that they had a strange collar around their neck. It didn't look so much like a collar as a necklace with like a gem on it. And you didn't necessarily want to give yourself up, so you sort of acted like a cat and started a bit of a fight, but not super, for being nasty. But you reached over and kind of gave the other cat a few bops in the cheek, and you dislodged the necklace. And when it fell off, they turned into a person. One of the neighbor kids. And they were like, "I'm sorry," and picked up the necklace and took off. You remember that because you're like, well, I use magic to transform myself, but that magic comes from within me. This seemed to have an item that did that. Something reminds you of that for some reason. You just find that memory coming to you.
Not sure if it's useful, but we'll see.
Something about that item.
Was it a very was it just like a basic chain or leather strap, or was there a particular thing about the gem on that necklace?
Yeah, it was sort of a very gaudy, noticeable, one of those, like, if you look up like magic item in a D&D, magic necklace or something in a D&D book, like that's what it would look like. It was very, you understand why a kid would see that, put that on.
Mm-hmm.
But it turned them into a cat. The item turned them into a cat. So it was the item that had the power. And now you're thinking about
The shawl, for one thing. Put them to sleep pretty fast. Are they trying to blend magic and technology? Or are they using technology to disguise magic? Eh. And this is something she says out loud to everybody as she nibbles on her sandwich or camembert or whatever.
the fanciest. Yeah, because you got the it's so hard to find that middle ground of giving you a bit of a hint, but not too much of a hint because you didn't entirely succeed. Yeah, it's a good challenge as a
I
storyteller.
love it though.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
Right.
magic would make sense for that shawl, but like, how common is magic? Outside of my glorious radiance.
I mean, how common is superpowers and super science in this world?
Enough that we have an entire retirement home, more than one. So,
Well, here's the
It was
question: do we do something about it here, or do we do something about it there?
I mean, being hopefully put on that list. If y'all can give me something to track me by, maybe we'll have our answers sooner than later. But that's an awful long time to wait, too.
I believe the Earl has access to a car.
Oh yes. When one is just a human, one does need transportation.
That is fair.
So maybe they could,
We could definitely follow the van.
yeah.
All right. Well, once they put me to sleep, I'm not going to be useful until that shawl is off of me, probably. So just make sure that I'll get it off soon. Because I doubt my magic will negate it.
You notice, because the Earl has been waiting, your friend, Geraldine, is wheeled in by the orderlies that had been by earlier. And they take the shawl off. You notice it's the same one. It's green and gold. And it's the same, it's just simple stripes. But you notice it's the same. You're pretty sure it's the same one as before. And they take it off, and they get Geraldine set up at her table, and she wakes up, of course, and and they just sort of talk to her for a moment and let her know where, remind her where she is. She just, they get her settled, and they give her some food and whatnot. And they bring her a big glass of juice like she always has. But Geraldine was once known as the Ice Maiden, and she always has her drinks extremely cold. But nobody needs to do this for her. She simply picks up glass and puts it to the correct temperature. She's very finicky about it, so she just does it herself. And you notice she, picks up the glass as usual and sort of pauses for a second and goes to drink it. And she's looking at it funny. It doesn't seem to be cold. And she looks like she's concentrating at the glass again. But it's not getting cold. Usually you see a frost go over and it sort of gets very slushy. And she does this every day. This is something you've seen her do every day, and she looks very confused. She sort of puts the glass down and starts kind of rubbing her eyes like she's trying to wake herself up. Reaches for some coffee instead.
All right, I'm beginning to like my plan less and less, but
That's highly concerning.
You see the director talking to the orderlies. And did you sign like a waiver? You would have had to sign a waiver to
she
be
would have
part of
signed it, yeah.
Okay. So you see the director talking to the orderlies and handing them your paperwork. I'm taking that donation as a boon, by the way, for you guys.
Awesome.
Yeah, so the orderlies, they're going to kind of stand around and wait for you to finish your lunch because they're not going to interrupt you until you're done. But when you're finished your lunch, you think they're going to probably come and pick you up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, she'll when Jerry, the minion, comes by, she'll kind of smile, give him that look like I'm about to do something stupid, and he is probably well aware of what that look means.
He just goes, whatever you say, boss.
Why don't you help our timekeeper here keep track? He could probably use a little bit more help right about now. That grin and wink towards the Earl.
Okay. He's taking that to mean that he's supposed to do what the Earl says now. Yeah. You're sort of transferring leadership temporarily. So he'll go and kind of stand behind the Earl and say, can I get you another cup?
All right. Yeah, she'll
He's a man of many voices, apparently.
I have him trained well to blend into certain situations. They aren't the smartest henchmen, but they get the job done.
They sure are funny.
So the car's like full of gadgets and a whole bunch of other stuff. Can we assume I might have a tracking device?
Yeah.
Because I think I might slip a tracking device to a certain henchman to put it on the van because
Okay.
he's going to look less suspicious.
Right. Okay. So your hench comes over and offers an arm for you to get up and walks you over to the orderlies.
And the director just to say hi and
talk
to him.
You're just playing along like pure innocence, I'm imagining.
Yes, 100%.
Which is probably more concerning, given that you're always very mischievous.
I mean, she's going to be like witty and mischievous, but it's more like I've just had my lunch. It's time for my nap. I've been pretty active today. I need the nearest sunbeam.
So the they get you into your hench helps you. The orderlies seem a little confused as to what to do because this hench is being so helpful, but doesn't even the hench obviously doesn't know what to do, but like there's a shawl just sitting in the chair, and so they lift it up and put you in the chair and just put it on your shoulders because they assume that's what it's for, right? And as soon as it sort of rests on your shoulder, it's very soft, and it's so
Petting it.
warm. And you get like you feel like maybe you get like 2 pets in, and you are there's something about it that you've never
Felt before.
felt that kind of immediate. You went from being, I could maybe use a little nap in a sunbeam to this is the most exhausted I've ever felt my entire life, and I can't even think about keeping my eyes open.
Yeah. I know this would probably require a roll, but in that like brief transitional moment between being awake and fully unconscious, does she feel magic in the shawl like she was thinking it would be?
That'd be a fun roll. Do that, yeah.
Would that be luck, thinkery, or something else?
What does she usually use for her magic? What's
Her thinkery.
Thinkery? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, do that.
All right. Ooh. She is probably a little too out because that is a grand total of 7.
You're like, seems like a magic item, thunk.
You should probably see. It probably would be phrased more as, "Oh, this is something my grandson Gerald would be into." Sweat.
Yeah, like your grandson is like maybe he plays a lot of like games and that sort of thing, and you've seen some of the books with the with what they think magic items are. You have to what their version of magic is, and you think it's very funny because you do real magic.
And she
And
is fully supportive of this hobby.
of
By the
course,
way.
but it makes you think of one of those like magic items in a game like that. That yeah, that just sort of you think of that for 2 seconds and then you're out. And then they unless you guys stop them, which I don't think you plan to, the orderlies go out and your hench kind of follows them, and they're a little awkward about that, but they your hench just helps secure, like they bring the wheelchair up into the back, and there's some straps just to kind of hold it in, and so the hench kind of gets in there, and so I think you can roll for your hench.
Yes.
I think we'll make it a physicality roll because they're kind of trying to like use their body to hide the tracker.
Well, they get a total of 17 on that.
Awesome. So they just kind of like elbow the orderlies out of the way, like I've got this, and just get the chair up in there, and they're just sort of and the orderlies at first are a little confused, but then they're like, well, you're helping us out, like you're not doing anything, whatever, and then they just go get in the car, and then the hench closes the door. They're like, why did the waiter do that? I don't know, whatever. We got her, like, I guess, but this place is kind of weird, isn't it? Yeah, it kind of freaks me out.
Shouldn't we be going? Looking at the neighbor and Earl.
As
Yeah, you already see me looking at device. Give it a moment. We can't be too obvious.
So you get the blip that says it's been turned on. It's been placed and turned on. And then the waiter comes back in, and comes right over to the Earl. And, okay, boss, she's in the van, and they're off.
Thank you.
All right.
Is it time?
It's time.
Excellent. Quick, to the camera mobile.
The what? Oh,
It's what you've got ever since you gave up the Boba Jet. Come on.
like, have you been sitting on
A little while.
Shit. Oh, that's good.
I'm sorry, audience. This is who I am. I can't deny it.
Macho motorboat.
Ooh. Hey, have we told you about the IGDN has a Twitch channel? By the way, thank you so much for supporting us and being here. And if you're supporting us, you might be interested to know that IGDN also does have their own Twitch channel where they upload all sorts of things. They do their Groundbreaker Awards there, and they also often do a series of informative panels about the gaming industry. So just tossing that out there while we're collecting ourselves.
Yeah, it hurts a little bit.
So we make our way to my old Rolls Royce,
Yeah,
which was that was my retirement gift.
yeah. That's the car. Now
Nobody else wanted it.
it's so expensive to maintain and it's so finicky. Yeah.
And it's a 1965 Rolls Royce. Most people want the new, the sporty.
So you
No respect for the classics.
you don't go for a drive all that often because of course, it wears the car down. So are you
Also have to fit into the schedule. The schedule.
Yes. So how are you gonna, since you're all three of you now are getting in the car, they you don't necessarily have to like sign out or anything. It's just they would just like to sort of get a vague idea of where you are and when to expect you back. Not, just to know when to worry, right? So there's sort of someone sitting at the front desk. What are you going to tell them?
It's your part, neighbor. I can't lie.
You don't have to do anything super complicated here. Oh, wait, what?
Go ahead, neighbor.
So, just go into the hospital.
The hospital? Why?
No, I'm sure it's nothing, but just went to the bathroom. It was a little more difficult than I thought it should be, so I'm just gonna have them check me out and make sure everything's fine. I'm sure it's fine, but
We can get one of the orderlies here to take you. And
Oh, it's no bother. It's time on my schedule to take my car out, so that the battery doesn't die.
I booked it
Oh.
in advance. It happened this morning, so I worked with the Earl here to fit it into a schedule. Luckily, he was taking the car out anyways, so everything's gonna be fine.
Oh, all right. And
So should be back a couple hours probably.
all right.
They'll have to probably run a few tests.
Well, I hope you're okay.
Like I said, I'm sure it's nothing.
Yeah, and the staff member comes over and just mentions to the that had been working in the kitchen, comes over with general orderly outfit on. It says, "Oh yeah, don't worry about it. I'm going with him. We won't be gone long." And we're taking the captain out for a spin. He hasn't left the building in a while. Just thought we should get him some air. And so it helps you kind of helps you get out, and you get into your fancy Rolls Royce. Does it have a roof or anything?
Oh yes.
Okay. You all get it?
It's what you would see in the old spy shows. The old...
You have some appropriate spy music on the radio when you turn it on. Somehow it's the only station that
Secret agent man,
It's just all. There actually is a radio station, I can share it with you, that is all secret agent all the time. So that's what, not just that song, but
Okay. I was like, oh my god.
that style of music. It's music to be assigned to, kind of a thing.
It's a secret channel we know to tune into for among all the secret agents out there, because occasionally there are messages sent through it in times of emergency.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. So you get in, and you've got your book, your tracker.
Yes,
which I imagine is one of those fun, like, big chunky.
Oh yeah.
Solid chunky buttons that are really satisfying to push. And it's got this like totally unfathomable ring that just has a blip on it that like somehow you can interpret as a direction.
No one needs these newfangled devices. This works perfectly well.
And it's beeping, but like, yeah, the other people, you're looking at it, it's just a circle with something beeping on it, and you're like, how do you understand where this goes? Every time they show those in cartoons, there's like no sense to how it works.
Yeah. It's been transferred into the display screen on the car, so I can just follow.
Yeah. So you don't have any trouble following. You get to the hospital. It's the van seems to just sort of be taking the standard route back to the hospital. The one on the most efficient. They don't seem to be like hiding.
Didn't even have an excuse to run a red light.
Can just do it because pretend. Well, you know what? Do you want to see if they notice? We'll see if they notice you. Where's their? Let me see there. Okay, that'll be.
We did let them go a little ahead.
You did. Okay. That is a. Okay. Okay. They do at one point, when you're not too far from the hospital, kind of veer off suddenly onto a side street. But you spent a lot of time driving the city. You're pretty sure the route that they're taking to the hospital.
Yeah. If they're veering off suddenly, they might have got a wind of us, but there's connecting streets.
So are you gonna run the red light, or are you gonna chill for a minute, just catch up?
I'm gonna chill. I still know where they're going, so.
All right.
I can catch back up if need be.
Yeah, they are gonna get there a little bit faster. You think? But
I'm not a newbie at this. I know they're trying to catch me out.
All right. So you fake them back out, and you sort of pull into the. Do you just pull into the general hospital parking lot?
Well, it'd be kind of giving us away by pulling up to the emergency, so.
Yeah. Well, there's like a yeah, you can't. It's sort of the medical. Yeah, you can't really pull up over there. So, yeah, so you pull into the regular, and there's the van uh in the loading zone with the medical loading zone, and they're unloading into the hospital. But like they are going in through the emergency room, but that's just sort of the everybody goes in
Yeah.
that way. There's access to the rest of the hospital through there.
Mhm.
Um,
And the tracker is on Pumas.
yeah, yeah. So so you go into the main room. You kind of come in near the emergency room, the sort of main entrance. There's a access to the emergency room um, to your left, and general sort of information to your right.
Okay. We may have to bluff our way past the.
Yeah. Well, you can go in to the sort of general area because there's like a food court and information
Okay.
kiosks and that sort of thing. So there's people walking around down there. The There's 3 floors above of uh, hospital rooms where like people who take long-term stays are in, um, and like that you would have to bluff your way into. Uh, and obviously the emergency room, you can only get into the sort of main area where you can talk to people. Um, but as you're kind of standing in the main area and you're watching your little beeper, um, you see that they have gone a floor below you. And you don't really spend a lot of time in the hospital, so you kind of go and you're all kind of, I mean, you're all there. There's posters, there's signs everywhere, so it doesn't take you long to sort of figure out that the basement is research and treatment labs. I'm just making shit up here. I didn't think about that ahead of time for some weird reason. I didn't think what that department was called until just now. So, yeah, so it's like a research department with the university of whatever.
So I think it's time to borrow some orderly costumes and make our way down.
In my experience, usually if you just act like you're supposed to be there, no one questions you.
True. True.
Act like you know where you're going. Act like you're supposed to be there. The people who get caught are the ones who try to make themselves look inconspicuous. No,
You
it's all
are.
about confidence.
You are the pro at this.
All right. So, I mean, there's not.
Not that I've ever done anything like that before, but
Oh, absolutely not. Uh huh.
Oh, never him.
so yeah, I think we just head for, if there's an elevator that leads down to that area, we just head for the elevator.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing stopping you when you get into the elevator. You can go down. But like most places, there's a big open sort of public hallway, but then there are offices off to the side, and there is some kind of reception at the front, and you'd have to go past someone to get in. But you're free to walk up down the hallway. That's not going to be suspicious at all. And you do you find Dr. Gold's office. Um, it seems to be so fairly new. It doesn't seem to be like an official sign up yet. So it doesn't look like they've been there very long. And what you can kind of see through the door. You haven't. I'm assuming you guys are still in the hallway. From what you can all see through the door, there's a desk There's someone sitting behind the desk at a computer, and they've got a phone and a bunch of books. It looks like nothing particularly out of the ordinary. But this front room is very small. There's a couple of chairs, and there just doesn't seem to be anything else. There's no decorations. It's bare, and there is a door behind, like a fully opaque door behind the desk that is closed.
Earl Grey, does the tracker lead us further that direction, pointing into that room?
It does.
Yes, it does.
Well, shall we go?
Better than standing around here.
And I just grab the door handle, and I'm going to walk in unless somebody stops me.
At
And
this point,
in fact,
College, I'm right behind you.
and as I walk in, I'm like, "Sorry, I didn't knock. Freedom rings."
wow.
The secretary has the receptionist has absolutely no idea how to take that. Very, very surprised. What? Who are you? What?
Are you Dr. Gold?
What, me? No. No. Do you have an appointment?
Yes.
They look down at the schedule, and I don't see one.
Are they
He's
looking?
here for the treatment.
Oh.
A little impromptu. You'll have to forgive us, but the doctor is expecting him.
Okay. Have a seat.
Are they looking on their computer?
Well, they're waiting for you to sit down.
Oh, but their schedule they were looking at, or their anything, was it on a computer or something?
Yeah.
So my power is super strength. And I just want to, as I put my hands on the desk, one hand is behind the computer, and I flick the computer with my like where the motherboard would be with my super strength, just to try and do enough damage to it to cause it to malfunction.
That's amazing. Can you do a physicality roll?
I most certainly can. That would be a 14 plus 3 in my physicality. Correct? I add my physicality to it?
Yeah.
All right, so that's 17 total.
Holy crap! You just by accident, by design, you just kind of reach back and flick. And because there's not a lot of decorations or anything on this desk, it was really easy for you to just kind of reach down and smack the back of the desktop, and the whole thing just sort of flicks off because it damages. Sort of, you see the screen kind of flicker, and it gets all screwy, and and then it goes blue, and then it shuts down, and the poor.
Poor secretary.
The poor secretary has no idea, because you rolled so high. You were sort of able to disguise that you were doing this without, it wasn't really obvious that it was you had anything to do with it. So the secretary is just like, what? What? I need to go talk to.
I step up.
That sounds like
Calm down, my dear. Come on. Let's go get you a nice cup of tea. We'll get you. There's nothing to stress about.
I'm like, and she's like, just let me, please just sit down, and I'll go get the doctor. And there's just a couple of very uncomfortable looking chairs, and she sort of, gets away from you and kind of. But when you all notice that when she goes and she opens the door, she kind of opens it just enough to kind of slide in and then close it right behind her.
okay.
You have a couple of moments before she comes back.
We really need to rescue our friend.
It would be a shame if you just leaned against that door.
I mean, there's only a couple chairs, so where are you sitting?
Good point. And I just walk through the door.
Oh,
That
And so, yeah,
all suddenly.
that's amazing.
I am subtle.
Yeah,
You're one with the wall.
you're one with the wall.
And so, yeah, I just open that door.
We'll give you a physicality to see if you how well you smash through the door.
Oh, is the door locked or not budging?
It's not locked, but are you just opening it?
I'm just opening it. I need a chair.
Okay.
Somebody pointed out there. Yeah.
Through it. Sorry.
Yeah.
I was taking that literally.
Oh, my apologies. No,
no. I thought you were gonna Kool-Aid man.
Oh yeah. Nah.
Oh, yeah.
Not going that far yet.
Okay, so you just open the door, and you come into the room, and there is you see that your friend is being loaded into some kind of bizarre machine. And there is a doctor in it looks like it's supposed to be scrubs, but they're all gold. And they're wearing a mask, of course. They're doing doctor things, and gloves. But everything is gold. And they
Wow. Not even trying to hide the supervillainy.
Supervillain's gotta have style, and nobody's supposed to be back here seeing this. She's asleep, so yeah, I can wear my costume inside my own office. If I can't wear my costume inside my own office, where can I wear it?
All right. So I stride in, and the moment I see this, I strike a heroic pose, and I take my glasses off.
It's gonna be a good one.
Earl, neighbor. I mean, this is our moment. Do y'all come in with me?
Absolutely.
Oh, of course. And I've got my cane.
So they turn back and they look at you and like, "What are you doing in here? It's not time for your treatment yet. We'll come and get you.
Oh.
Go back inside."
Treatment is pending, Dr. Gold. I pop my knuckles. You're about to have the fourth beaten out of you. I know, that one wasn't as good. Okay, sorry.
Great.
It's all right. You can only have so many of those lined up in the day.
Truth.
Yeah, exactly.
Give him a reassuring pat on his shoulder.
Okay. So
I just see him sitting every night writing.
all right. We're going to get into combat. So, how we're going to do this is you are sort of going to decide among you who's going to go in what order. You know that so you've got Mabel. Mabel is in the chair. She's got the shawl around her, but you know that she'll wake up right away if you get it off of her. So she'll, be able to join in as soon as somebody does that. But there's the doctor and the secretary and the two orderlies in the room here with you. So what you're going to do after you guys decide what order you're going to go in, you get a choice of what kind of a turn you want to get. So we're going to start by you guys just saying what order you want to go in first.
I would gladly let all of y'all go first, or I can rush across the room and on my turn and try and get the blanket off. But what would y'all like to do?
I was more of a subtle go get the blanket off myself. That's what I was going to do.
You were going to sneak in and do that. Okay, so I'll let you go
just
first.
Subtle slide and flick.
Okay. So I'll have you go, but I mean, I'm saying first, but everything's going to sort of be happening at the same time, like in game. Mm-hmm. It'll be happening in the same time, but just for the sake of like keeping my brain straight, I need an order. Okay, so Earl's going to do that, and then what's neighbor going to do?
The neighbor loosens his tie, says, "Fred, I'm sorry." He's gonna lock eyes with one of the henchmen, and he is going to use his mind control power.
Sweet. Okay, give me 2 seconds. Okay, so we're gonna just get them in order. Okay, and then it's gonna be Captain. And then we'll put Mabel at the bottom because she will catch it. So you get a slow turn or a fast turn. Yep. So a slow turn, you get more done, but you only get 2 actions. And a fast turn, you get 3 actions, but your what you can get done is a little sort of less powerful, I guess would be the best way to describe it. Less effective. Like if you were doing, you could do 2 really hefty damage punches, or you could do 3 like light, right? Is sort of the concept. So, Earl, what do you think you would need? A slow or a fast turn?
I just tell you what I want to do.
Yeah.
Basically, I want to slip in, use my sword cane to flick off the shawl off, and fling it towards one of the bad guys. I don't know if I'm going to be able to hit him, but
okay. So I'm going to say that's going to be a fast action because it's going to be I'm going to count the slipping in and pulling it off as 1, and then because I think you aiming for someone is going to make it more challenging. So we're going to give you 2 actions. So that's it. Neighbor's going to use up his power. So that's also going to be a fast. You're going to get 1 more action. Second, what's Captain up to?
I just see him launching across the room, and he's doing the whole dramatic, superhero punch, fly across the room. Yeah. But rather than, it's like he's going to go just enough past, Dr. Gold and strike the machine behind him instead. So it's just going to be like it grazes past him, not enough to do any damage to Dr. Gold, and I hit the machine.
Okay, so I'm going to count that as a fast because you're putting all your weight into that punch. And then we'll get to, okay, and then what is Mabel going to do when she wakes up?
Probably transform into her namesake Puma and pounce on Dr. Gold as soon as she sees him.
Okay. So these are all going to be fast actions. So okay. You guys are basically in a sort of, you guys kind of have an ambush situation here because they weren't, expecting a bunch of supers to jump in and stop them. So you kind of get your surprise round. So you can give me some rolls now, and we'll see how well you achieve all of these things. So Earl, I think we're going to need physicality for that,
Okay.
unless you have a power or something that helps with that.
Let me scroll back to that page again. I know I had something. Could the oh no you don't work where it's a disciplined assault basically, so I'm trained to fly in, flick,
Yeah,
because it's kind of a martial artsy thing with the sword cane. Is basically what I do.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, you
So
practiced this in
yep,
spy school.
lots and lots of times because you're always flicking like blankets and stuff. It's because you incapacitate them.
Yeah, but I think you had an umbrella fighting class.
Oh yeah.
I think you did very well in umbrella fighting class.
Okay, so let's see. What was my physicality? Physicality is a 2, so 13, 15. Well, I guess it doesn't really matter because it's roll both and keep the highest, but I had either rolled 19 or a 21 or 15, which are both successes. So
You were just like
yeah,
you have this moment where you're like, you are in the zone. You remember your training, you remember all those incredible adventures that you've had, you know what to do, and you get in and you do this really smooth like flick.
like,
And the
and,
shawl is taken right off of Mabel, and gets gets one of the orderlies just smack in the face, and it the sort of thing wraps around and they kind of flail for a second and then just fall right down because they.
I do have a momentary grab the bad out my hip.
While you're rubbing your hip, you're like, I am in the zone.
Because I've been using my sword cane as a cane for a while.
Like, oh, I get to use the sword part for a change. How about thee? That's amazing. I love that. What is the okay? So now the neighbor. Are you said one of the orderlies or the secretary?
One of the orderlies.
Okay, so the other orderly who did not get knocked out. You are going to use your power on them.
Yes.
How does that power work?
So I'm mind control. I have to make eye contact with them. You see that my eyes turn like a purple color, and then I can issue a command to them. I'm guessing that would be a charm roll, probably.
Yeah.
Okay. So.
Do you get any kind of bonuses according to your power? I don't know all the powers off by heart. I mean, most of them you make up anyways.
Yeah.
Do you just get like an advantage roll on this because it's using your powers, or?
I think
I think that would make sense.
See what it says for powers. The only thing it says really for powers is just that on a partial failure, it only kind of works. And then on a success, it does what it's supposed to. And then on a total failure, it does nothing.
Choose a default ability score for your power check. So that would be charm for you.
Yeah, for me, it would be charm.
Yeah, and then it's just sort of, okay. So yeah, so you don't get advantage or anything, but the result will just kind of depend. Okay.
So that is a 13.
Nice.
That is a success.
So you, does it do damage? Does your,
I imagine it didn't do damage. I imagine it like he says,
recognition, as opposed to damage.
Yeah, it's like, you know what would be swell? That's what he always says before he does his mind control thing. Is you know what would be swell? You know what would be swell is if you could maybe restrain the doctor and keep him from going anywhere.
Whatever you say, boss. And they turn around and try to start trying to restrain the doctor, which they will roll for in a moment. But yeah, you just succeed. You feel like it. You're pulling on that power, and you like you don't use it too much now because you feel.
I'm super rusty. I haven't used it in probably decades.
So you kind of have to really dig in yourself for a second to pull it out. When you pull it out, you start to remember all that, how good that felt.
Yes, the power.
When you said, be swell, and they just do it, and it's great. All right, Captain, you are punch. So, yeah, your power in this case, if you do success, you will do extra damage.
Ooh. Oh, that's gonna be fun. So that would be I rolled a 10 and I rolled a 2. So
Okay.
that's 12 plus my physicality is a 3, puts me at 15.
Awesome.
Nice.
Now hang on a second. So durability items have a durability. Okay. So, give me 2 seconds. It says right under powers. Okay. Roll a d6
Ooh.
and add 2 for your physicality. See how much damage you do.
Let me get my big D6 here.
Oh, do you have a chunky? I like chunky dice.
Well, I have a whole because I'm playing so many games this weekend. I have my brick Shadowrun dice, little itty bitty D6s, and I have my bigger ones. So, that is a 5 plus 2. You said plus 2, right?
Yep.
All right.
You have very nearly completely you basically completely destroyed this machine.
That's right, I did.
It had a durability of 5.
Oh wow!
7. So, because it was a machine, it wasn't built. It's a machine for
Yeah.
nefarious purposes. It wasn't built for. It's not a tank, So I gave it the mid-range number, thinking, you probably make it durable enough because you got to put people in it. They've got to hold up the weight of people, so it's got a little bit of durability, but not all of it.
Yeah.
And you just completely, absolutely devastated this thing. It is a pile of pieces of plastic and metal circuitry, and it is destroyed. And the doctor screams at seeing this. How dare you destroy his machine? How dare? That was so expensive! So, Mabel, you just wake up. Now, normally, you'd be kind of out of it because you were magically put to sleep. You're magically being woken up, but like you were prepared for this. You knew that this was going to happen. Fully expected to be woken up in the middle of either a treatment or perhaps some kind of chaos. But you wake up to a delightful amount of chaos. You feel this soft, warm, oh so soft and warm shawl being pulled away from you, and now you're cold. You don't like it cold, and you wake up and it's cold and stupid, and now there's a disaster around you as you're standing up. You get up out of the seat the captain comes forward like with all you see is fist, and you just sort of step out and just like go to the left,
It's like, oh,
and then just destruction behind you.
Mhm.
And the doctor is losing his mind, at this destruction, and like with one hand, kind of like trying to like fight off the orderly that's been ordered to restrain him. The
Mhm.
other orderly has the shawl wrapped around his face and is laying on the ground. And the secretary seems to have absolutely no idea what's going on. This is what you wake up to. I imagine you're like, it's like old times.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. If her henchman is still with them,
Yeah. Oh,
she's just
yes.
gonna do.
Hench there, sort of next to the secretary.
Yeah, it, I, I can pretty much just see the henchman just being, "This is a normal Tuesday for me. Whatever." And Mabel herself will go, "Just take care of her gently. Don't know who she is yet." And then she's going to look at the doctor in these gold scrubs. He's making himself very obvious right about now. You look like
Probably
you have
doesn't
a,
wear these in the main class, but
yeah, but
probably.
for right now, it's just like, you're not subtle. You're less subtle than the captain. And you look like you have a very comfortable lap. That's when she switches to Puma mode and just goes, pounce. Not
That's
with the aim of
amazing.
doing damage, just more like,
Holding him down.
yeah.
Okay. All right. So that would be a physicality, I imagine.
Mm-hmm. Which is her least useful, but I mean, hey, it's
Or you
he's
could,
just.
I guess you could argue that.
I mean,
Luck. You could argue luck.
I could argue either way because she's a retiree. She's a little bit fluffy even in her animal form. So,
Whichever one you want to pick.
uh, either one will be fine because that's either a 12 or a 13.
Okay.
So both
Well, we'll let you. We're right at the end of the game here, so we'll give you the success. So you spot because the orderly that's been hypnotized by the neighbor, has got the doctor's attention, and you pounce. You have spot the perfect moment, and you pounce, and you just get right on top of the doctor, and you pin them to the ground. And I'm gonna wrap it up because we're right at our finishing time here. So you actually did amazingly well because I was worried. I was like, okay, when you guys did very well at getting out of the building, and I was like, how are they gonna like alert security? Are they gonna cause panic in the hospital? Because it's a normal functioning hospital. Like how you guys, so you guys did very well. Like you were actually great at just sort of immediately attacking. Because they didn't give them time to set the alarm. So yeah, so you catch the doctor, and you've caught the secretary, you've caught the orderlies, and eventually, obviously the security shows up, and through conversation and evidence, and eventually the secretary, the orderlies kind of give it up. You discover that the Dr. Gold had the power to pull powers from people, to steal their powers, and then, but he couldn't use them, but he could store that power into objects. So use it, but he found it was built a machine that did this more effectively, and so was making a killing on the black market by stealing, and decided to pick retirees because he figured they weren't using their powers anyway. They wouldn't be missed. So figured it was way easier to get away with, which of course does not go over very well with you and maybe the guards kind of look aside while you get a couple of kicks in. Um, because they don't appreciate that attitude either. But you are all thanked for sort of exposing um, this doctor. Everyone had taken this doctor in good faith, assuming the best. They had a published paper, like, seemed legit enough. We knew it was experimental, but nobody had any idea. So you guys sort of, your little group here, just saved the day by solving this mystery. And perhaps, if you think you can continue getting away with some shenanigans, you may track down where all those items went in the future. Dun, dun, dun. So I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. I tried to give you all a chance to kind of use your powers and be a bit goofy, and you didn't fail anywhere near as much.
My dice loved me today.
Yeah, the dice loved everybody today. I can't believe I only rolled a couple of times and I rolled a critical.
My dice never love me this much. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah,
I think it was just a lucky game.
Yeah.
That double 10 right out of
This
the
is
gate.
usually how I roll when I'm playing Call of Cthulhu with my D10.
yeah. Well, good. I'm glad you guys had a good time, and
Yeah.
I'm awesome that you solved the mystery and saved the day and didn't get into trouble. Strictly,
Mhm.
you didn't
Oh, I
even
mean-
destroy anything except the machine
Well,
and the
yeah.
computer. But like, I wasn't sure if you were gonna like Kool-Aid Man the whole thing.
Yeah.
You never know.
Well, hey, we are at our time limit today for the show. We'll be back in an hour, but I would be remiss if I didn't give the players an opportunity to do a little quick plug, saying thank you. And everyone, please tell everyone where they can find you. As far as what your projects are, or anything you want to say really quick. Kori, you want to go first?
Yes, I am Kori Maynor. You can find me at the Midnight Alley podcast, both on YouTube and now we are on Twitch. So all one word, Midnight Alley podcast. We're ramping up. We're improving.
Awesome. Sharene, you want to make any announcements or anything?
Yeah, I'm on social media much these days. But I do have a website and I keep that updated, so keep up with me there. And or you can look at my Tumblr, which is full of nonsense.
Awesome. Akyla?
You can find me over on the One-Legged GM Twitch channel, all one word, and we're also on YouTube. So doing game design, and eventually we're going to be doing some actual plays as well.
Awesome. And Chris?
You can find me most often on the Nerdburger Discord. And you can find me occasionally at conventions across the Midwest and at Gen Con, where I usually run games for Nerdburger Games.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all so much. And hey, we will be back here in just a bit for our next game. So we will see everyone very, very, very soon.